Welcome to our very last session together on ecofeminism. Now, this week is honestly a little bit of cheat week, if I'm being totally honest, because it's kind of just a conclusion reflection on the last 5 weeks. Now, I am putting the link to the written module just here in our chat. If you don't have access to it, now you do. And as ever, a little bit of housekeeping. If you're here to talk, to ask questions, that's absolutely what this space is for. If you are here to comment on what a woman on the internet looks like, find someplace else. This is not the place for you. It's a little bit funny to me. Part of me has a difficult time believing that we've been trucking along here for 7 weeks, because I had an off week in there talking about ecofeminism, because in a way it feels like it's been a lot longer than that, and not necessarily in a bad way, but also, if I'm being real honest, kind of in a bad way. This summer was not nearly as restful as I was hoping it would be. And that's just kind of the luck of the draw, that's how it goes down sometimes. And just kind of reflecting on, putting together these modules, and thinking about very specifically ecofeminism. Academically, one of the things that I've thought about that I really appreciate is the intellectual tradition within the discipline of different ways of knowing. Now, and we talked about this actually last fall, I believe. I could look for that. I'm not going to right now. But really, just in case you don't know what that means, that tradition of different ways of knowing is really just the idea that there are a variety of equally valid ways to approach something, really almost anything, as knowable. Within academia, there's kind of a hierarchy to that, and sometimes that hierarchy is completely appropriate, right? If we're talking about the hard sciences, then Socratic inquiry and really solidly understanding the scientific method to approach experimentation in a replicatable way, that's important. But within the social sciences, there are really a lot of excellent ways to know about your lived experience that is not necessarily going to be found within a journal article. So that's just something that I really appreciated the opportunity to reflect on in these last few weeks. The other thing that I've really appreciated about just within myself, the opportunity to think and write and read about this topic a little bit more deeply, has actually been kind of creating that space for myself to think about my own spiritual life. Within this online space, I don't talk about my kids that much, frankly, because I think that they deserve privacy, and it's generally not germane to the conversation. or rather maybe what I should say is that I don't frame the conversation in a way where they are germane to it. But my middle child, particularly when they are upset, will really loudly and angrily scream, "You call yourself a Christian?" And it's a little funny. But also, kind of having this intellectual space has given me time to really think about that statement specifically and realize that, at least for myself, with this additional study and learning, I'm realizing that that might actually not be a great label for me. And I don't know that I would have really had the space to think about this otherwise. So I really appreciate how that space, like how this space has turned up in that way for me over these last few weeks. The other thing that I have been thinking about more recently, of course, is how this space is going to exist in this upcoming fall term. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty tired. I know I just said a couple of minutes ago that this summer was not, maybe necessarily as restful as I would have hoped. And I love doing these, like creating these classes and really building community with you in this way. But yeah, I'm just wiped, honestly. And so I've really been trying to think about what this space is going to look like. It is going to be a space that is on hiatus for quite a while. Just to kind of give myself a brain break. But also to do something that is maybe a little bit more grounded in that spiritual journey that I've just shared with you. Now you may notice at the top of just like the homepage of my Substack, and I just navigated there to copy the link and put it in the chat. And it's a little weird to see myself like to the side while I'm also right here. But you, of course, may notice that there is an About section. And within that About section, I had shared that this upcoming fall semester, we would be talking about women and religion. And I think that that's a really appropriate place to move next. But I have honestly, I've done a good amount of like reading prep, really kind of just over the course of my academic life, but I haven't done any of the prep specific to creating a course within this space, right? Like I haven't created a course outline or a syllabus to follow. And I need that brain break to really be able to do that. And so with that, really kind of how I'm imagining this, possibly moving forward for the foreseeable future, is that this space, rather than being full term classes, that are anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks, that is going to be maybe a little bit more compact, right? Like 6 weeks of learning in kind of the second half of a longer semester. Just to kind of prevent with myself that fatigue and that burnout. And so with that, as glad as I am to be here with all of you, I am also very much looking forward to a break and reconnecting on Sunday, November 1st, to spend 6 weeks talking about women in religion. And just so you are aware of what I'm thinking, I'm really imagining that as kind of is really focusing in on those 6 weeks on the Abrahamic religions, right? Very specifically Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, kind of like 2 weeks each, which is so certainly not representative of all world religions, but kind of starting out with that. And I will really look forward to seeing you, here in, so it's August 26th right now. So 4, 8, so in about 10 weeks, I look forward to seeing you back here to talk about that. I hope that you find this early fall time to be restful, and as a time to really be reflective about slowing down and moving into a new season. But I will see you all in your inbox on November 1st. And I really hope that you have a good autumn. So until next time, this is Rachel Hansen signing off.